Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in the buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50% by adding Pathmonk to your website in seconds, letting the AI do all the work and increase conversions while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. Hey, everybody, welcome back to today's episode of Pathmonk Presents. Today, we are joined by Tim LaBarge. He's the head of marketing at Implicit. Tim, welcome to the show.
Hey, Rick, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you, Tim. And let's get right into it. Tim, I want to talk about Implicit a little bit before we maybe talk about yourself and your role and your job as a leader. But in your own words, Tim, can you tell us a little bit what's the heart of what your company does, and how would you describe it to someone new that's never heard about it?
Yeah, sure. Happy to do it. Implicit, like at our core, we do what I like to call complex AI support. So, think like, there are a lot of AI tools, AI agents that do like AI customer service. So, like, hey, I ordered the wrong pair of shoes and I ordered the blue ones, I want the green ones, and AI can take care of that whole process. We specifically stay away from that type of AI customer service. We're really focused on answering the hard questions, doing the hard AI tasks that a lot of folks kind of steer clear from. So think like instead of I ordered the wrong pair of shoes, think I am trying to maintain a Boeing 747 engine and I'm
Hmm.
getting this error code and I don't know how to fix it. So the idea is that you can dump all of your documentation, whether that's support documentation, maintenance, processes, procedures, into our platform. Our AI parses it, distills it down, understands all the context, and then you can, for lack of a better term, chat with your knowledge base and get those answers in real time.
All right, that's pretty sweet. So it's not, the simple, as you said, ordered wrong size or anything like that. Just fair enough, it's simple
Yeah.
enough, let's say. But I got this error code for a Boeing. Yeah, that sounds pretty complex. So, that sounds
Yeah.
like a very useful tool to have at hand when you do have that problem, right? Because maybe you don't always have that, that person, that support person at hand. So having an agent, let's say, would
hmm
help you out with that. Am I off on that or?
Yeah, no, that's correct. And that's the issue that we see a lot with these teams is that there's a lot of what we call tribal knowledge. So there's a lot of folks who have this information in their head, but the trick is getting it into some sort of documentation and loading it into a system where you can quickly, accurately, and consistently get the answers you need to be able to solve those problems. So I gave the airplane example. Aviation, aerospace is definitely a place that makes sense for our product, but think like other complex type organizations. So a lot of like software, hardware type organizations make a lot of sense where you've got a lot of interconnected parts and pieces and systems. Or
Mhm.
cybersecurity is another space where there's a lot of complexity, and we try and really embrace, like I said, answering the hard questions, doing the hard tasks. And there's obviously still always risk with AI. So a lot of folks want to steer clear of those more risky, more difficult scenarios, and that's where we try and step in and be the solution to that problem.
Got it. Okay. So when these companies come to you, right? What I'm sure they have plenty of problems that you have them solve with this, with this agent and your solution. But is there a core problem that you see maybe as a pattern that comes out of, automotive or
hmm
the airplane industry? Is there
Yeah.
anything that you think you guys help solve that's a
Yeah.
core issue for many of them?
Yeah, so the two things that we try and really lean into, one is accuracy. So, AI hallucinations or AI sort of inaccurate responses is a really key issue. And that comes from one of two places. The hallucinations comes from, having an AI model that is properly tuned and using, kind of the latest and greatest in that technology to make sure that it's and that you're putting up barriers and boundaries so it's protected from those hallucinations. And the second is having a knowledge base or having documentation that is accurate and up to date. And we have some tools within our system that help you identify where there are gaps in your knowledge base and in your documentation. So you can see based on, for example, based on all the questions that are coming into the platform, all of the responses that are going out, and whether those responses are flagged as positive or negative, our system can flag certain products or certain error codes or certain areas within your knowledge base and say, "Hey, this looks like an issue. This is an area where you need to clean up your knowledge," so that when people ask that question, they're getting the correct response. So those are the two things that we see a lot that we try and bake into our product and build into our solution.
Got it. Okay. Now it sounds like it's able to categorize all these issues and then make it easier for for people to understand where they're going or what's needed actually for the person
Yeah.
that's asking that information, right?
Yeah, so one of the key things that our system does is it tags all of what we call products. So that could be if you have a whole line of products, or in the case of a Boeing airplane, it could be, one product is the engine or this engine component. Another product is, I don't know, the the cargo hold. Another product is like the wings or the tail, or so we tag all of these different products, and then we also tag all of the situations or issues or problems that could occur for each of those products. So by having these different tags, we're able to then reference and say, hey, for the engine or for the tail, we're getting all sorts of questions flagged as this is an inaccurate response. So that's how we kind of zero in on the areas that need to be cleaned up.
Got it. That's pretty smart. Listen, product sounds super interesting, but I would like us to step back for a second and talk about marketing. Because if I go off on a tangent, then we'll only talk, which I'm sure is great,
Yeah.
but we only talk about the product. I want to hear a little bit of marketing. You're the head of marketing, so we definitely want to get some knowledge from you. So, how do most people discover Implicit? And as a head of marketing, do you see any marketing
Mhm.
channels at the moment that have become your go-to for bringing in
Yeah.
new customers?
Yeah. So we have two primary channels where we get the most engagement today. One is through our paid social campaigns. So we, at the moment, are leaning pretty heavily into LinkedIn, largely due to the fact that we can be much more targeted in our outreach. So we know we're hitting the right person with the right message, ideally at the right time. It comes at a bit of a premium. It's a bit more expensive than some of the other ad channels, but for us, that's where we've seen a lot of great traction. Um, and then the second is well, I've got kind of two others. The second is we do a lot in the way of outreach. So we have a team of BDRs that are actively reaching out to folks in our ICP, and we've got a lot of content that we like to distribute to them, and kind of build that rapport and show that value. So again, a lot of that happens through LinkedIn, some through calls and email, but LinkedIn is really where we get the most traction these days. And then I would say the third is we recently launched a newsletter. So we call it the knowledge layer. So that's how we refer to kind of like everything that happens behind the scenes before your AI spits out an answer, is like the knowledge layer, right? Here's where all the documentation and the tagging and the extraction and all sort of the more technical, less sexy part of an AI chatbot, but the part that really generates the value. So we call our newsletter the knowledge layer. So we recently launched that. We get a lot of engagement through that, and it helps us again, kind of carve out a space in terms of thought leadership and having a pulse on the industry and conveying that value.
Okay, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
LinkedIn ads, right? Sounds
Mhm.
like that's a good place to be for you guys.
Yeah.
That you got the newsletter just launched. Now, is all of that funneling through to your website? And how does that funnel, let's say, look like, top
Mhm.
of funnel, mid funnel, and then bottom of it, uh, in order for people to get to try the
Yeah.
product, or how does that work for you guys?
Yeah. So good question. Yeah. So the in terms of the LinkedIn ads, we have a handful of different campaigns. A lot of those campaigns are actually staying within the LinkedIn ecosystem today. So it's a lot of CTAs for, download an ebook, download a document, get more information. So in that case, it doesn't push them through to our website directly. We've actually found more success in terms of generating MQLs and interest if we don't kind of take them out of that workflow or
Mhm.
take them out of that experience where they already are. They're maybe more interested in clicking and engaging if they know they're not going to get booted off to a new site. So that's kind of the first engagement, and then from there we actually lean pretty heavily into kind of like sort of the founder-led marketing playbook. In our case, our CEO is not our founder, but our CEO really takes a heavy role then in engaging with these folks and kind of pulling them into our ecosystem and
Mhm.
conveying the value that we can provide. So he's really the face of the company and the face of the point of contact for those folks once they engage. So that's sort of the middle of funnel nurturing phase, is a lot of communication from him, whether it's through social media, through email marketing, and then as we get more towards the bottom of the funnel, he would often also lead our like discovery conversations and take them through a demo of the product. And if there's a fit at that point, then we kind of pull in the engineering team and make sure they understand kind of the ins and outs of how it works technically. But that's like a traditional flow of how those LinkedIn ad campaigns would run.
Got it. Okay. And so at the end of the day, it will be about people getting on a call with you guys or your sales team and trying to understand the product and discover the product a little bit more. Is there any way for them to kind of, there are some interactive demos out there. Is there a
Mhm.
way for your customers to actually get to interact with it, see what it's like, or
Yeah. Yeah, so good question. Part of that interim process between the time that they would engage initially and when they would have that call, there's a lot of communication, like I said, going out through our CEO, but a lot of that, or a few of those conversations or a few of those connection points would be pushing them to our new freemium product. So about a month ago, we launched Implicit Free, which allows folks to register, sign up, and get access to a light version of the platform out of the gate. So yeah, so this is a way of kind of reducing friction at that top middle of funnel level, give folks an opportunity to kind of like see it, touch it, experience it, see what it's all about, and they can it's got full functionality. There are some limits in terms of like the number of users and the amount of documentation you can upload, but it's the full product. You get the full experience. So that's something that we're really excited about, and it is a way
Hmm.
for people to make their way through the funnel if they're not ready to engage with someone in an active conversation.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting model. And I feel like, that will have to be the model for many companies. Companies doesn't work, but I see as as a user, as a consumer myself, I do love a free product that I can try so that
Hmm.
kind of get my bearings, and then maybe I get attached to it in some way, and then obviously the next natural step is to become a paid user. So
Right.
that's not
Yeah.
most of them work,
Well, and
but
there's in the AI support space, there are a lot of options out there for a free trial, like try 14 days. There are very few that have a full like freemium experience, right, where you can just exist as a free user for as long as you want, and ideally they'll go through that upgrade path, but it's not a requirement.
okay, got it. Now, Tim, I want to switch gears for a second. I want to talk about you as a leader, and I also want to combine that with with the uh, rapid fire segment of this podcast, which is basically a set of few engaging, let's say, light questions that we want to ask you, right?
Hmm.
The only rule, let's say, that we have for it is that for a concise answer, we only need crisp. Sorry, for a concise question, we need a crisp
Yeah.
answer. Would you be ready for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So, when it comes to your day,
Mhm.
what are the main three things that you focus on when you get to work?
When I get to work, I would say three things. One is I always check our pipeline activity, see what sort of what sort of activity we've got going on there. The second is, I check our sort of our what I would call our lead generation campaigns, and the third is connecting with the team, not necessarily in this order, but making sure that everyone's clear on here's what I'm going to do today, tomorrow, the next day, and what the priorities are moving forward.
Okay. Now, when it comes to content, do you prefer creating it or consuming it?
I would prefer to be a creator.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. On the consumer side of things, do you prefer watching, reading, or listening?
I would probably say listening. I do a lot of listening while performing other tasks. Like we talked about, I've got a
Okay.
big family, I've got a busy day, I'm always doing something. So if I can consume that content while I'm doing something else, that's the ticket for me.
It's a classic habit stacking, right? I don't know if you've ever read
Exactly.
Atomic Habits,
Yep. Yeah,
but
I
yeah.
have. Yep.
So,
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly
okay.
right.
Awesome. Now, what's the latest piece of content, and it could be a podcast or an audiobook or whatever you listen
Mhm.
to, that you picked up? Were there any ideas or gems that really stuck with you?
Yeah, so I recently listened to a book called The Comfort Crisis. So this is about
Hmm.
how our modern society is making us sort of like, because everything is so easy. We can have food delivered directly to our house if we want. We don't have to leave our house at all. But the comforts of a modern day life make us less resilient and weaker and less creative. So this book was all about kind of rewiring your brain so that you can continue to be creative and resilient and get the most out of your life.
Yeah, it's not the first time I hear that book, and I agree with the premise. So I think it would be an
Mhm.
interesting one to pick up. For me
Yeah,
personally, I think for some in our audience. So thanks for the
yeah, and
recommendation.
the thing that really stuck with me about that, I know I'm trying to be concise here. The thing that really stuck with me, especially in marketing, was the piece about creativity. So
Hmm.
as we are living in our life of constant sort of stimulation, right? We're on computers a lot, where our phones are, notifying us all the time. It takes a toll on your brain, right? So there's very little left for creative thought. And, it takes time and energy and effort to be creative and to create something new. So by kind of going back to how our brain used to operate a little bit more, slowing things down, you can facilitate more of that creativity.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. It's kind of like the opposite of you can pour from an empty cup in a sense that if you overflow it instead with content or,
Right,
just being always on, then it will be really hard to be creative. At least that's
right.
one of the takes that I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Now, Tim, if you had a magic wand and could fix one frustrating thing in your marketing life with tech,
Mhm.
what would it be?
Yeah, so I did give this one some thought. If I could wave a magic wand, it would be about targeting and about focus. So sometimes I feel like marketing and advertising get a bad reputation because it's like we're trying to trick folks into filling out a form or signing up for a trial. And like it's really, from my perspective, it's not about that. It's, hey, we have a product that can solve a problem. So if I could wave a magic wand and say, I want to be able to cut through the noise to our ICP and convey to them, here's really what we can do to help you, and not feel like it's a cat and mouse game, right?
Hmm.
It's that ability to cut through the noise and say, here's really what we can do to help you. We can really help you solve this problem that we know you're experiencing. So that targeting piece of identifying here are the people who are actually experiencing that problem, and B, here's the message and the time that can get conveyed to them in a way that it's going to really resonate. Um, those are the things that that's kind of the holy grail in marketing. But those are the things that I feel like I'm always fighting against and trying to figure out and problem solve. That's what comes to mind for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you find a way or know of any solution, then please do share because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that will be
Right. Yeah.
interested in that, right?
Yeah.
Um, so Tim, just a last one for you.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and give your past self a quick pep talk, let's say at the
hmm
beginning of your journey, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
Yeah. I think especially the way things are evolving over the past couple of years with all of the new tooling and AI, being incorporated into the majority of tools that are available. I would tell myself to increase my technical skills to become a builder in a marketing sense, right? So this is something that I'm working on now. Even in a leadership role, this is really crucial to be able to get tactical and understand here are the different things that I can build as a marketer that can help our business scale, help us target the right customers, help us convey our message to an audience. In a startup environment, how do we connect with a large number of people in a short amount of time for a low cost? What are the different hacks, so to speak, or the different tools we can use to build those types of programs. And that's really crucial. It's always been crucial, but it's even more crucial today because a lot of the creation, a lot of the especially content creation and other things that are going to be outsourced to AI in a lot of organizations. So I would tell myself, become a builder, understand how things work, how they fit together, and be able to, take a project from point A to point B. And that's, I think, the future of, really a full stack marketer, whether they are at an individual contributor level or all the way up through a leadership level.
No, that's a great point. So, yeah, I love this question because it's for your past self, right? That's advice for your past self. It's so relevant to, uh, well, to your point, to yourself of today, and I think many other marketers out there. So, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
That was really good.
yeah, of
Tim, I
course.
want to thank you for being with us on the show today, and I want to give you the last word as we wrap things up. If someone forgets everything about the interviews today, Tim, what is the one thing that they should remember about your company and the work you guys are doing?
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate you asking that. So, it's really that there's a really crowded space of AI tools now, and it's going to continue to get more crowded before it thins out, I think. But what we found is that the key to success when leveraging AI tools is to it's not about larger, bigger, faster models. It's about more honed, more targeted, more specific models. And that's what we try and lean into, whether you're verticalizing your solution or honing it to a specific industry or use case within an organization. It's really hard to get those results maybe out of a really large language model. So leveraging a tool like Implicit or others out there can really drive much more targeted, much more productive results for your team, for your organization. And that's where we try and carve out a niche. And what I think a lot of folks who are new to AI are still trying to understand.
Beautiful. If someone wants to check you guys out, see what you're about, and maybe get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, so you can find us online. We're at implicit.cloud. So that's where you can find our website and get kind of the rundown on our product and our organization. We're also obviously on LinkedIn. So those are probably the two best places where you can learn about us and see what we're up to. And we're always publishing content. And like I said, you can check out our newsletter called The Knowledge Layer. You can sign up for that on our website as well.
Amazing. Tim,
Yeah.
thank you again for being with us today, and wish you a wonderful day.
Yeah. Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me. It was fun being here.
All right. See you again. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.